Indonesia is a magnificent and a rich country as its nature is greatly blessed with beautiful and various landscapes, flora and fauna. From land to seas, Indonesia is rich with natural resources that can support the living of its people from generations through generations. Indonesia also becomes the center of tourist attraction as Indonesia has lots of beautiful places to explore. Nonetheless, the climate crisis has threatened this country throughout the decades. Industrialization and human activities have brought negative impacts to the Indonesia's ecosystems. Environmental damages such as deforestation, coral bleaching, massive forest fires, soil erosion, and many other problems have endangered the people of Indonesia, as well as the nature and animals in Indonesia. According to the data by Global Forest Watch, from 2002 to 2020, Indonesia has lost 9.75 megahectare of humid primary forest. In 2019, several regions in Indonesia such as West and East Java, Bali, East Nusa Tenggara, and Southeast Sulawesi did not rain for 69 days straight. Indonesia has been suffering due to the climate change and environmental problems. More destructions will come and surely be getting worse in the upcoming years if Indonesian government and citizens still not taking this matter seriously.
When talking about climate change and the subsequent action proposed by various entities in order to mitigate the aforementioned issue, we usually only focus on state or international organization or NGOs, for example, as a campaigning body or regulatory body. But on the other hand, religion and belief can also have a great impact on the dynamic of the issue mentioned before. One may take a look at the various discourses carried by religious institutions and bodies on the issue of environmental sustainability and the climate change. For example, the religion of Buddha, with their declaration of climate change, is aimed to tackle the discourse of environmental change. And also we have Catholic with the joint declaration by the Pope, or even Methodist and evangelical churches with their own declaration of climate change. Also, Islam, Judaism, and Hinduism put out their religious take on the issue of climate change, with religious institutions and leaders jointly voicing their concerns on our environment. Perhaps the attention of the majority of believers can be directed into such issue in order to mitigate it in the best way possible, both scientifically and also religiously. There are many examples of religious movement that is centered around the action to mitigate or sometimes sadly even deny the existence of climate change. The example of such discourse is perhaps greatly elucidated by the documentary put out by the news source of Guardian titled The Climate and the Cross, published in 2018. Or more locally, you can find a more great discussion on a dialogue titled Dialog Islam and Perubahan Iklim. But on a more local note, we can sometimes see religious community and organizations conduct themselves in meanings to help the environment. Take for example, an Youth Action Plan to reforestation, and also many more religious community in Indonesia have committed themselves into helping these local surrounding environment immediate to their location.
Indonesia is a country obligated its people to adhere to a religion, as written in our national ideology, Pancasila. The first sila, or belief in the Almighty God, promotes to other states that Indonesia is a religious country. And national ideology established to other countries the identities and characteristics of Indonesian people. With the first sila in mind, Indonesia recognizes 6 religions: Islam, Protestantism, Catholicism, Hinduism, Buddhism, and Confucianism. It is mandatory for Indonesians to follow one of these religions. Due to the importance of religions as part of our national ideology, it affects the political agendas of the nation, specifically Islam, because Indonesia is a Muslim majorly populated country, holding 87.2% of Indonesian population. Additionally, Islamization also happens to several regions in Indonesia, causing more people to follow the religion. Therefore, Islamic principles impacted the construction of policy makings in political sectors, trade, etc. In regards to climate change and how it affected the world as a whole, Indonesia mitigates the issue conforming to its national ideology and following religious teachings.
Assalamualaikum Kang Salim,
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
terima kasih sudah mau hadir dalam wawancara ini yang diadakan untuk kelas agama dari HI UGM. Pertanyaannya mau bahas soal isu iklim dan kaitannya kepada Islam. Mungkin langsung ke pertanyaan pertama itu, apakah pandangan Islam terhadap isu perubahan iklim?
Ya. Jadi bolehkan ya, nama saya Salim, lengkapnya Salim Rusli, saya manajer di bidang pengkajian dan penerbitan Salman. Kebetulan juga di bawah bidang ini mengelola satu inisiatif atau program yang namanya Masjid Ramah Lingkungan gitu ya, atau Salman Green Mosque. Kita bisa membaca ayat-ayat Allah di alam gitu ya, ayat-ayat kauniyah tentang mengapa perubahan iklim itu terjadi gitu. Mungkin sebagian dari kita sudah pernah tahu fakta bahwa perubahan drastis iklim itu baru terjadi setelah kurang dari 200 tahun mungkin, terutama setelah revolusi industri itu memuncak di abad 17 atau 18 ya, 18 mungkin kalau nggak salah ya, revolusi industri. Nah, jadi singkatnya, manusia harus bergerak, bertanggung jawab untuk meminimalisir efek-efek dari kegiatan ekonomi, kegiatan sosial budaya, atau secara umum aktivitas-aktivitasnya di bumi ini yang menimbulkan perubahan iklim gitu ya. Jadi kalau saya melihat sih, Islam mendorong ke arah sana. Jadi bahwa manusia mengambil tanggung jawab, menyadari, mencari tahu apa saja yang salah yang dia lakukan dalam pengelolaan bumi ini, sehingga menyebabkan kerusakan di alam, khususnya dalam hal ini persoalan perubahan iklim ya. Memakmurkan masjid, ya itu kan sering banget kita dengar ya, memakmurkan masjid. Maksudnya makmur tuh kayak gimana sih? Jamaahnya rame, masjidnya bersih gitu ya, banyak aktivitas yang bermanfaat gitu ya. Dia sustainable dalam arti dia bisa mengurus, mengelola dirinya dan jamaahnya sendiri, tidak minta-minta gitu ya, tidak kekurangan gitu ya. Nah berarti kan esensinya seperti itu mungkin ya, istiqmar itu, memakmurkan itu. Jadi khalifatul fil ard, ketika dia memakmurkan bumi, maka bumi itu jangan sampai kekurangan gitu ya. Jadi bumi atau umat manusia itu sebisa mungkin tidak ada yang kelaparan, gitu ya. Tidak ada yang kekurangan akses untuk hidup sehat, hidup bersih, gitu ya. Kebutuhan-kebutuhan dasarnya terpenuhi, gitu ya, manusia. Dan bukan hanya manusia kan yang diperintahkan tuh istamarakum fiha itu kan bumi, gitu ya. Jadi bumi dan segenap isinya. Berarti harus ada pengkadaran agar bukan hanya manusianya yang makmur, tetapi buminya juga makmur. Berarti kebutuhan-kebutuhan yang dibutuhkan, yang menjadi prasyarat buminya itu hidup, bisa sustainable gitu ya, bisa berkelanjutan, itu juga dipenuhi gitu ya.